Hey guys, yeah, I'm home. Just having technical difficulties. I've ended up with two live at the same time. Okay, I think I'm back. I see the circle of death. Mate, yeah, I don't know what the hell I did. Granddad's junk. I think he shut down the wrong one. I think I might have. But it was showing one there on my phone that was upcoming, not actually live. So I shut that one, but it seemed to shut the actual live down. So I'm back here. I was talking to myself briefly there. So sorry about that. It's just one cock up after another, isn't it? Yeah, Beagle Bob's got it. He cancelled the only live thing, thinking there were two. There definitely was showing two on my phone. I don't know. But that's right, you got freeze frame. Maybe Chris spilled a bourbon on his keyboard. Not tonight, Andy. Not yet anyway. Did it end for you guys too? You cancelled the only one. Yes, he had two streams. Oops, David Tyree. Yep. But I'm back. Hopefully you're all still here, at least most of you. Mexican spec. I clicked on the one that says it's live and it brought me here. There we go. What a balls up. Oh, it can only get better from here, I guess. So, hey. Now, let's try and actually catch up with the Chris Freeman's always back. He's back, Tava, yes. Yeah, well, for a while, hopefully another hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. Good Lord. Steve Sadusky, you did it now, Kiwi. Kev us pissed you have him locked up again. So he chewed through the wires. He did something. Something's conspiring against me tonight. I know that. Tavo, when you were looking at the other one, I started typing "don't stop" the wrong one. Well, yes, by the time I hit end, I obviously hadn't read your message, so bugger. Beagle Bob, wondering if you had heard of the 327 or 342 stroker kits. They are stock bore 331 and 347. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the 327 to 331 is just a 30 over, isn't it? Yeah, I guess there's. I hadn't really heard of them. Everyone, because I guess it's hard to find a standard bore block. And while mine was standard bore, it would probably need a rebore anyway. Like there wasn't much wear in it, but to build. I think it had by the time you had honed it, there wasn't really any ridges in it, but I think by the time you'd honed it, it would have been a little on the large side. Steve Sadusky, turquoise and white for large marge. Yep. Well, I was thinking of a two-tone, like a darkish, well, not dark really, but I guess I'd call it a dark green and a turquoise as a two-tone. Like a darker green metallic as a two-tone along with the turquoisey colour. I thought that would look quite nice. Turquoise and white would also be nice. And I saw a really nice powder blue the other day. Can't remember what car it was on, but a really nice powdery blue, and I thought that would look nice with the white roof. It was kind of an old powder blue. It wasn't one of these like modern super bright ones. It was kind of a 60s looking, what you might expect to have got back in the 60s. So those are kind of the two lines I'm thinking along. Old timer, hey man, good to have you here. Todd Denier, Granddad's junket's going. Weather sucks, so I can't work on my car. Yeah, but how? I'm not sure whether you answered me already, Todd. I may have missed it with all that kerfuffle with the lives. But yeah, hopefully you're feeling a bit better, man. We've kind of noticed you've not been in for a couple of weeks, so yeah. Granddad's junk, been drinking too much bourbon. Andy Nickel, Alpine's looking good. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's coming along pretty well. You know, I've definitely put some hours in on it. Yeah, I worked pretty much while Mrs. K was over in New Zealand. I worked pretty much exclusively on that and kind of shut the doors and did minimal customer work for that 2 weeks she was away, and kind of just as a way of trying to really get it kick-started. A few hours here and a few hours there was not really getting it rolling. So it's nice to see some forward momentum, and that just makes you want to work on it more as you feel like you're actually, certainly for me anyway, I feel like I'm achieving something, that it just makes me enthusiastic to try and get a bit more done, But when there's minimal progress because of lack of time, it gets a little downheartening kind of thing. Beagle Bob, I'm pretty far behind the Alpine series. Well, mate, that's no good. You're going to have to apply yourself a bit more and actually, do the hard yards and watch the things. Yeah. Josh Homan, good to be here. Well, good to have you here, mate. Good to have you here. Granddad's junk, typical, isn't it, Todd? Yeah, make sure you do a video of it running. Yeah, if you can. Do you have a YouTube channel, Todd, or not? I'm not aware of one for you, but you may have. Barracuda, I'll always wait for you, Kiwi. Nice of you to say so, sir. Granddad's junk. Chris Freemason, my hip is playing up, nerve pinching like an electric shock. Ow. Yeah, that sucks. Tavo, 3-tone green looks great on our Chrysler Royals. Okay. Huh. Okay. 3-tone. Trying to think where you'd put the 3 tones on the marge. But interesting thought. Todd Donato, I was planning on doing that this weekend, but we got a heavier dusting of snow than I was expecting. Okay, cool. Dean Stevenson, welcome along, sir. I was 14.5 because I'm a Kiwi too. Okay, not sure what you mean there, Dean. I was like 14.5. May have missed something there and all that balls up with the lives, but hey. Beagle Bob, I think oxidized copper color and bright copper would be a great 2-tone for something. That's an interesting one. For something from that era. Oxidized copper color and a bright copper. Interesting concept. Yeah, I actually quite like that idea. Now you're just confusing me. Todd Denier, Chris, I'm feeling the same, so I have to go to the doctor for more testing. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks. It gets wearying, isn't it, when it just doesn't, when those ailments just won't go away. Tavo, as essentially a purist, I do like how the Alpine's coming along. It's all out mod rod, not a half-ice mess up. Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just doing it the way I like to do it, which seems to, resonate with a lot of you guys, which is nice. I don't want it to look like some radically. Yeah, last thing I want to look is people, just average Joes, shall we say, coming by and go, oh, that's a chopped up Alpine. That's not the look I'm going for, or that's an Alpine with, Jaguar tail lights or, Lincoln tail lights or something like that, Yeah, I really just want them to go, there's an Alpine / Tiger, but why does it look different? And if I can puzzle them, I can baffle them, mate, I'm happy. Charles Dalton, that Alpine build and your work are incredible. I'm really digging your vision, as we used to say, Chuck. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm getting a lot of very positive feedback on that car. And it's kind of interesting because it is not an American car. It was, I mean, they were built with an aim at the American market when it was built in England. That's why they put the little fins on the back stuff, and it does have a little bit of an early T-Bird look to it. So it was definitely aimed. When you read the history on them, they were aimed at the American market, but definitely English built. And the Tigers had American mechanicals, but still English built. So it's kind of cool that I've got a lot of die-hard muscle car guys and old American car guys that are going, that's pretty cool. So, yeah. Granddad's junk, all those old codgers are falling apart, mate. Isn't this the truth? Yeah, very, very true. Dean Stevenson, every now and then Granddad's junk is body Tyler said. Yep. Barracuda, I'm a nice guy. Absolutely. Mexicans hit 2 on the body and 1 on the roof. Yeah, okay. You could just, you could split it at the trim, I guess, huh? Interesting. Going to have to probably do some renderings of some description and try and get some colors on there and figure out just what floats my boat, as they say. Body, roof, and side flash, all different shades. The side flash on it, though, has a aluminum like infill in it. So it's, while there's an upper and lower stainless trim that kind of does taper out into about probably 4 inches deep, 100 millimeters deep at its deepest, that has an infill, like a pressed aluminum infill. So there's no wear for color in there, unless you leave the infill out and put a color in there, but I'm not convinced I want to do that. Todd Denier, Chris, no, I don't have a YouTube channel. If anything, I would email you any video footage. Okay, cool. And I can always post that up too. If the guys are interested, I can just quickly put that up as a video and just explain that it's your video really. But yeah, and I mean that car will create some interest because it is so rare. Great, that's junk. No matter how bad it gets, we can always turn good food into shit. Hard to argue with that, mate. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But yeah, that's funny. LVG is in the house. The Cruiser-matic issue was a broken snap ring on the front clutch pack. Flushing the system and waiting for the gear case to come back. Okay. Yep, shut up the page again. Hang on. Where did it go? There we go, LVG. Okay, Dean Stevenson, like 14.5, the 14.5 like. Okay, I'm still missing something, mate. I'm being a bit dim tonight, I think. Andy Nickel, when I think of doing a YouTube channel, I realise I can't even figure out how to update my website. Mate, I couldn't update my website if my life depended on it. No, I'm with you. It's not that hard. I figured it out, mate. It's not that hard. Truly, it's not. And you would get some viewers on your guitar stuff. You absolutely would. Not saying you'll make a fortune at it because, I've been doing this three something years now, and I'm certainly not making a fortune at it. But it's fun. So, yeah. Mexican spec. What color will the interior be? Yes, well, that's the colour of the outside is going to have a big bearing on that. I may go for a sort of a grey, light, a greyish theme. But I'd like to go that 50s colourful, 2 and 3 colour seats that they had kind of in the 50s. So yeah, the easy road would be to go like just a grey, like a light grey or mid grey, and then you can paint the car any colour. But that's going to look a bit, that's what they did on the modern cars, and that's not really one. So if I go green, I'd probably want 2 or 3 tone or highlights of green in the upholstery. So it's really going to come down to the colour I paint the car. I think I can do a headlining in a kind of neutral colour, but the actual seats are going to need to be, because I do want that 50s flavour. I'm not, the Marge is not going to be a resto mod at all. It's going to look like, in my mind's eye, it's something that came out of the 50s. Todd and I have a few still pics of the Marlin, but I don't know if they can be shared here. They can't on the live, unfortunately. You could email them to me, and I can try and bring them up on my phone and kind of hold the phone up to the camera. That's about all you can do here that I'm aware of, anyway. But yeah, it's if you email me some of the pictures you got or when you get them or whatever, Todd, and I'll pop them up on the channel, even if I just put them up as a short or a post, and the guys that are interested will see them. But yeah, if you can send me some video footage, I can kind of splice it together and doing a voiceover on it, seeing as I'm getting good at the voiceovers, or better. I'm not sure about good, but better. And kind of make a video out of it. So Mexican spec Tavo. In Vegas, our office was dark green carpet with mahogany desk and furniture. They worked great together. Yeah, I bet they did. Phil Dodge Fury, welcome along, mate. Granddad's Junk. Todd, take a cruise down to Kiwis and film the whole thing. There you go. There you go. I would like. I mean, not. This is, on that list of things we'd like to do. Is I'd like to get around the country a little bit, at time permitting, and yeah, do some videos of actually, visiting someone like Todd, visiting someone like Cold War Motors. It's definitely on my bucket list. I'd like to go and spend a week up there at Cold War Motors and just kind of rock in there and help them do it with whatever they're doing, I just think that would be fun. If he'd had me, of course, assuming. But yeah, I mean, he just does some cool stuff. And, there's a few others like that. So yeah, but, go to New York and check out Chris Freemesser's car, and, just a few of you other guys that are around the stateside anyway. And, next time in New Zealand, try and do something similar there. Old timer. I'm sipping Calumet Farm small batch blend of 17-year and 7-year-old Kentucky bourbon tonight. The good stuff. Nice. Yeah, you've mentioned that Calumet Farm small batch before, but would be nice, I would think. Barry Cooter, Kiwi. Have you ever been mistaken for Christopher Lee? Chris Lee. No, not mistaken for him. No, Christopher Lee. You mean the actor that used to? He play like Dracula and people like that, like many years ago, like in the black and white movie day. There's also a Chris Lee that if you ever watch the UFC, there's a Chris Lee that's one of the judges for the UFC. I was watching that one night and I heard them read out the judge's name, and I'm like, I just heard my name, but it wasn't. It was Chris Lee. Yeah. Tavo, what colour are you planning on the Alpine? Red or red? No red. No, it's going to be a very dark. Mrs. K's already got the colour picked out, and it's a very, very dark British racing green, but it is loaded with metallics and pearls, which really makes it quite bright. It's a very nice colour, and it's going to be perfect on that car with the chrome wires. She wants like a champagne coloured interior. So you like that off-white or bone or, like a few variations of it, but a fairly light coloured interior. So that's what the lady's ordered. So that's what she's getting. Craig Nearing, you made it tonight. Good on you, man. I only just did. Trust me, that was a bit of a snafu. Bit of a snafu at the beginning of this live, but hey, we seem to be rolling along nicely now. The LVG worked as a lot lizard on Sunday. Had a great show with the 5150 car club. Around 20 rat rods made it out. Nice. Very cool. Steve Sadusky, that Alpine is going to look sweet when finished. I really think it will. I really think I can, put it together and have it looking quite a bit nicer than a stock Alpine without going crazy. I think, resizing the wheel arches, lowering the car a little bit. To me, the wheel arch sizes on that car are wrong. They just don't fit, but they're going to be a little bit taller and more fitting of the larger diameter wheels. And I think in my mind's eye, it looks a lot nicer than a stock one. So we shall see. Todd Denier, Granddad's junk. I would, but I can't travel that far anymore. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I got a good buddy that comes into the shop, most weeks. He's in his early 80s now. Great guy, Dougie. And but his driving, he can only ride in a car for about an hour and a half, and he's done. Like his back and various bits and pieces hurt and ache, and I get it. Craig Nearing, about to turn 76 come June, mate. Yeah, well, they say you're only as old as the woman you feel. So hopefully that means you're feeling about 60. I'd say 30, but I don't. 70. Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. What else we got going on here? Beagle Bob, old timer. What's the special occasion for the drink, or is a Kiwi Life special enough? I've got Green River Rider night. Oh yeah, that sounds cool. Mexican spec. Driveway of Misfits. Coral on those cars looks great and looks like pink. Yeah. This Mopar back in the day had some neat colours. Well, yeah, probably that hasn't really changed, has it? To be realistic. Barracuda. They haven't been refined since Marsden Point was sabotaged. Now, most of you guys watching won't know what Marsden Point is, but that was a big refinery in New Zealand. We would import crude oil and refine it for our gasoline requirements. But I don't think that's running anymore, is it? Dean Stevenson, people see this old street kid climbing a tall hill watching his cell phone. There you go. Todd Denier, Chris, I just sent you a few pics of the Marlin when a friend of mine was checking it out. Oh, okay. Let me just catch up on the messages and I'll have a quick look. Chris Freeman, Mexican spec. Coral on Marge, yes. Coral on the Alpine, not sure about that. No, me neither. Not against the colour, but so it doesn't seem a sports car colour, does it? Yep. Now. Now, what have we got? Yeah, wow, I'm way behind. Didn't realise. Okay. Mixing speed. What colour will the interior March be? Yeah, I think. Did I already answer that question? I think I did. Have I gone too far? Chat disconnected. Success. Oh, looks like I froze out for a moment there. Yeah, the Mexican spec, the interior is going to have to match up to some degree with the exterior colour. So, but yeah, not really sure yet. Charles Dalton, Todd and I think we'd all like to see a video. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll certainly take that on, Todd, if you want to just, you can't do too long of videos if you're going to send it like via an iPhone, like video it with an iPhone and send it. I think a couple of minutes is about the longest you can do, but you can do it in several pieces and, like outside, inside, engine bay type thing. And I'll string it together, mate. Happy to do that. Old timer, Beagle Bob. I try to sip along with our host if I can. Who makes Green River? Like Woodford Reserve. That's nice. Yep. For $35 a bottle, it tastes really good. Yeah, it's not bad, is it? Mexican grey and Marge. It's not a 215 Honda. Yeah, maybe just the headliner in grey. Maybe, I don't know. Beagle Bob. I think two-tone paint matching seat would be ideal. Yeah, it'll be something like that. Andy Nickel, there are so many guitar channels that unless I came up with a new take, I'd get lost in the crowd. Have you seen how many car guys are doing videos? Yeah, you'd be surprised. People always like something new. Yeah, I think you'd be surprised, Andy. I really do. Dean Stevens, so 14 likes plus a half is 14.5 because Kiwi. Okay, I'm with you. 14 likes. Okay. I gotcha. Chris Freeman, it's easier to match the paint to the seat colour than vice versa. Yeah, there's probably some truth to that. Mexican spec, Kiwi, look at the brochure of the 59 Plymouth. You will see the colours of interiors and exteriors. Yep, that's a smart idea. Tavo, Mexican spec had a brainstorm there. Great idea. Indeed. Mexican spec, yes, that's the way to do it. You have more choices of paint than interior colour. That's very true. Driveway of Misfits yet. I actually remembered what DWOMF stands for, so didn't I do well? Andy Nickel, you would have to bring him in as a guest, then he could upload his vid, I think. Okay, look at you, Mr. Andy. Can't get into his own website, so can't do a YouTube channel, but he already knows more shit than I do. Beagle Bob, I think Green River makes their own. It's also about $35 a bottle. I'm a big fan so far. Very cool. Mexican spec, we need to make Cold War motors a destination. Yeah, he's not overly huge on having a lot of people at his place. He keeps it fairly quiet where he is because because with the number of sort of fans or subscribers he's got, I think he'd have too many visitors. That's something I'd have to talk with him about. I wasn't planning on just surprising him, but put that offer out there if he wanted some help. I'm not quite sure when that'll be, but it's something I'd like to do. Makes you expect to go to Chris's house, you have to like Fiats. That's a big ask. That's a big ask. Brad Eastham. Afternoon from the Lower North Island. Lower North Island, where's that? Obviously Wellington comes to mind, but yeah, whereabouts in the Lower North Island, mate? But hey, it's good to have you here. Todd and I will definitely share it with Chris to share it here. Okay. Steve Sadusky picked up some Tennessee moonshine. Holy smokes. That shit'll sneak up on you. Mexican speak, how about red piping on the Alpine seats? She might never notice. Oh, you clearly haven't met my wife. Yeah, there's very little goes unnoticed, I can tell you. Very, very little. Granddad's Yank, we could show those Yanks how to make a real moonshine Hokanui style. Sounds dangerous. Todd and I, Chris, a friend of mine is a UFC type fighter, Gerard the Saint, French, who brought my 40 Ford. He's got some of his fight videos on YouTube. Okay. Huh. Gerard the Saint, French. Okay. I'll have to see if I can find him. Dean Stevenson. Here we go. Yep. Dean Stevenson from Gore. Gore's a place in New Zealand, by the way, for those that don't know what he's talking about. Old timer, I just looked at Chrysler colours for 58, and of those shown, I like Mandarin Green Iridescent the best. Mandarin Green. Huh. Have you got a paint code book or something, but that'd be good to get a hold of some paint code books from that, for sort of 57, 8, 9, and 60, say, and see what's available. Tavo, it'll be good if YouTube get lives together running on PC. You can share it. I mean, Tony used to do that. We would do lives. I think he had 3 of us on there at the same time at one point. I can't remember who he used. He used some, Uncle Kathy would tee it all up, but I can't remember the hosting thing, but he would use that, and you could have several of you on a live at the same time. Mexican speak, it's a 59 though. Yeah, right. That would be okay. That general era of colours is cool. Josh Homan, cars are pretty uncomfortable these days. They're certainly different to what they were, that's for sure. Andy Nicol, I'm good for about 30, 45 minutes behind the wheel, then my ankles cramp up. Oh, okay, that sucks. Craig Nearing, I think the Alpine is going to become a Triumph Stag of sorts. Sorry, someone else, it might have been you that said something about the Stag in the comments on the video. Can't quite remember. But someone said something similar. It could well have been you, Craig. Just to get so many comments to answer, it's hard to tie names to all of the different comments. It's gonna. Well, the Stag was that classic British sports car formula of long nose, long front fenders, cab, the cabin area of the car starting at the back axle basically, or starting at right at the front of the back wheel, rather than and only the two seats. So a very short cabin, long nose, short cabin, short trunk, short-ish trunk. And that's the typical formula. The Alpine is really not like that. It's a short front, little bit, short front, smallish cabin area, two-seater, and fairly long tail on it. So it really didn't fit the stereotypical formula for British sports cars, but that's because they built it on this Hillman Husky floor pan, so they were a little limited as to just what they could do, the shapes they could make it. So I'm taking a few more liberties. That's why I had no hesitation in stretching the front out like 5 inches, because it suddenly puts, to me, in my mind, puts it in that traditional sports car mode. I mean, even Corvettes follow that formula, long nose and everything else short. It's just, putting the driver right sort of over the back axle, engine behind the front axle-ish, So yeah, it wasn't really strictly a British thing. The American sports cars followed the same formula, really. Dean Stevenson, 31 is okay as long as you're not dyslexic and in jail. Okay. I'm 17 then. Oh, jeez. But are you dyslexic, Barry Cooter? That's the thing. Chris Freeman says, speaking of that, I read something about Australia running out of gas and petrol. Yeah, well, with all this carry on in the Middle East, that I haven't read or heard about that. But Stream, Driver Misfits, StreamYard. Yes, that's what he uses. Where's that gone? LVG, I really like this cast. I'm wrenching on the 60 T-Bird and having a great laugh. Thanks. Well, man, that's the way to do it. Listening to a live stream in the background. It was very cool. Tavo, yes, 30 days reserve instead of the mandated 90 days. Yeah, well, 30 days, yes, it only takes a little bit of panic buying, and that 30 days will turn into a week in a very short space of time. Todd Deny, on the live stream, do you prefer being called Chris or Kiwi? It's really 50-50. I don't mind either way. I guess the only trick is sometimes I've got to pay attention and figure out whether someone's talking to Chris Freemesser or me. So at least, pretty much there's only the one Kiwi on here. So that makes it a little bit easier for my feeble brain to keep up with. So, I see sometimes, people saying, hey, Chris, and I'm like, oh, are they talking to me or are they talking to Mr. Freemesser? Usually they're talking to Mr. Freemesser, but, that's okay. Old timer, hey, I paid $900 for enough diesel fuel to run my iron 2 whole days, 210 gallons. Wow, for $900. How much is that? That's, that's probably not bad. Bigger Bob, how much power is compression ratio worth? I'm looking at making my Grand Marquis a bit faster. About 10 or 11 will do everything I want, but I would like to do bits at a time. Okay, one question. Question one, what gas are you running? You just going to want to run pump gas, or are you going to want to add a bit to it? You get up to 11s, and you'd certainly want, 10.5, it's been my experience, is about as much as you can run consistently on pump gas, and you definitely want aluminum heads, which I think, well, on your marquee you're going to have aluminum heads. But 11's probably getting up there a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely worth horsepower. It's definitely worth horsepower. And it's good for torque, which horsepower is just a calculation of torque times RPM. So yeah, torque is worth having. Would like to do it bits at a time. So how are you thinking bits at a time? Like different, like you're going to trim some off the cylinder heads, or what's your plan there, Bob? Tavo, rural areas are dangerously low on fuel, but farmers are suffering the most. Seeding time and their suppliers are extremely low. Yeah, it's a problem. Chris Freeman, so that's pretty nuts. Do you folks have refineries, or do you rely on petrol imports? You'd have to wait for Tavo's answer on that one, mate. I'm really not sure. Brad Eastham, yeah. You're on daylight savings now? Yes. Seem to have missed the start here in New Zealand. Yes, on daylight saving time here. That started, not last weekend, the weekend before. Barracuda is surprising because Australia has a fantastic government. That's not two words you typically see in the same sentence, is it? Fantastic and government. It's impressive. Todd Denier, Josh Homan, I agree. New cars are uncomfortable. Can't ride in the newer cars. Interesting. The seats typically have a lot more support on the modern cars, I would have thought, or is it the harshness of the ride? So is it the seating or is it the ride that you guys struggle with? Tavo, driveway of misfits, 95% imports, but even what we refine here is imported crude. Yeah, if you can't get the boats there, you're going to be in trouble. And that whole shipping thing is a bit of a cluster, isn't it? Or a lot of a cluster. Tavo, according to some sources, just South Australia is sitting on almost as much oil as the Saudis, but can't touch it for the climate. Okay, can't touch it for the climate. You elaborate on that one, Tavo? Stephen Bakey-Bird, welcome along, sir. Good to have you here. I am doing good. Hope you're doing good. Old timer. Meanwhile, Chile, I'm guessing you were going to say there, and India are wide open and climate be damned. Yeah. Barry Cooter, go to Uncle Tony's place. He loves having unexpected visitors. Yes, very amusing. Yes, no, not so much. No. Brad Eastman from Wellington, but trucking between Palmy and Wellington at the moment. Okay. Todd Denio, Duran the Saint French is undefeated. Wow. That's always a good thing. Barracuda, named after Leslie Gore, I think. Yeah, Tony uses StreamYard. Yep. Barracuda, Tavo, Jill Elbow. About that oil, maybe he's not aware of that. Maybe not. Joseph Zott, late 60s, wasn't a 260 Ford in an Alpine. Yes, they were called a Tiger. It was an Alpine, but yeah, they threw a 260 and 4-speed in them and called them a Sunbeam Tiger. And Carroll Shelby actually did the first ones and then lost the contract to Judson, I believe it was, in England. Brad Easton, I've got 250 Plymouths. One has tartan seats and the other boring light blue, both uninspired. One's a parts car, and nobody. Probably have to recover the seats. I'd be keen to see what you come up with. Yeah, it's the seat in Marge it's like a tartan checkered pattern with red through it, like black white with red, and that's actually pretty cool. If I could get something like that with, maybe the black white and then whatever the feature color on the outside is, also that would be pretty cool. And there is some interesting fabrics available out there. There's probably more colors and patterns out there than most people realize. But yeah, there's a little bit going on out there. LVG. Oh, we're out. There we go. Yeah, found it. Didn't go too far. Had a Triumph Spitfire last year. What a giggle of a car. What are you? So yeah, LVG had a Triumph Spitfire that I sold last year. What a giggle of a car! So much fun. Very nimble little car. Very light little car. Yeah, just fun. Todd Denier, Joseph. Yeah, the 260 was in the Tiger. Orlando Pockets. Hey, it's Kiwi. Cheers, sir. Snow Crusher. Hey, evening. Welcome along, bud. Dean Stevenson and Joseph Sott and a 289. Yes, they did come out with the 289 as well. Ooh, Brad Eastman. Petrol is over $3 a litre here in New Zealand. Wow. That's $12 a gallon, folks. New Zealand dollars. It's up there. $12 a gallon New Zealand is about $7 a gallon, 7 something a gallon. American dollars, which it's about, I believe it's $6 a gallon in California right now. Barracuda, Kiwi Chris. Remember Carlos days, mate? I do remember Carlos days. I do remember Carlos days. That was pretty crazy to think about. Now, for those who don't know what me and Barracuda are talking about, they had a little fuel. I guess it was that whole fuel crisis era, and the government in New Zealand decided that you were only allowed to use your car 6 days a week. You had to nominate. You could nominate any day of the week to not drive it, and you had a sticker on your car that you got supplied by the tag office equivalent. You nominated your day, and that sticker was on the car. And if you were out and about driving, and if it was a Tuesday, and you had a Tuesday sticker on the car, if you were out driving, you got fined. And that was just a way of basically, I think what they were trying to do was trying to get people to car share a little bit more, ride share, or carpool. So, but I was a teenager at that time. And I had 2 cars. So, yeah, my V8, I remember that time I had a 63 Dodge 330. And I had a little wee puddle jumper, a little Hillman Imp. And, the Dodge had its carless day during the week. I can't remember what day. And then the little Imp had a carless day at the weekend, because the weekend I always wanted to drive, the hot rod. Such that it was, and going to work and back was my little puddle jumping Hillman Imp that got like 40 something miles per gallon. Makes sense, really, or did to me. But yeah, it's hard to imagine the government here in the States saying you have to choose one day of the week. You're not allowed to use your car, and wow, I don't think that'd go over well at all these days. That would be. It was kind of odd when I remember back to that time. People did bitch and moan a bit about it, but really everyone kind of just went, "Oh, okay," and just sucked it up. I don't know how you'd get on in New Zealand trying to do it today, but I can only imagine in America, people would be up in arms and just, giving the finger, so to speak, to the government and just carry on driving, I imagine. Todd and I, Chris, the seats on newer cars are too stiff and the suspension is too harsh for bad backs. Fair enough. Yeah, I can see that. Some of the earlier American stuff was so soft and luxurious, wasn't it? Big pillow top seats and soft rolly suspension, but they were comfortable. Mexican Space, adios all. Hey, well, thank you for coming along, sir. Always great to have you here. Did you have that live? Oh, you may have gone by now, but did you have that live last week, or do you have another live coming up, Mexican Space? Brad Easton, cost of gas is madness. We don't refine in New Zealand. The government shut down and we rely on imported fuel only. Yeah, it's expensive. Mrs. K was saying that when she was back in New Zealand a couple of weeks ago. She filled up her sister's car from just under half, and it was like, I think she said it was like $95 to fill it up from half. And this was not, an F-250. It was a little Volvo SUV, So, yeah, it's expensive. LVG, I'm running 9.5 to 1 in my 62 VW. Have to run premium in California. Be careful with compression ratios higher. Compression ratio, high pressure. US fuel is not that great. No ethanol petrol. Right. Yeah. The school of thought it's my understanding, and take this, for the face value of it, in that I'm not an engine builder. I'm not, but I have a few clues. And yeah, cast iron heads, it's like 9.5 to 1, and aluminum heads, it's 10.5 to 1. So yeah, that's probably slightly conservative, but at least you're not going to have to try and tune the detonation out of it, which is just a good, you add that compression to get more power, and then you go a bit too far and you've got to pull the power out of it so it stops detonating. So you really just wasted your time completely. And you end up having to compromise on the tune to stop the detonation, which very much counterproductive. There you go. There we go. Beagle Bob meant to say 10 or 11 into the car total for exhaust. Oh, okay. Meant to say 10 or 11K into the car total for exhaust, gears, heads, cams, pistons, rods, and a tune. Thinking starting with bottom end might be a help a lot. Could do 10cc dish from 18cc. Yeah, that would definitely make a difference. I mean, you've just got to measure it all and do the equations, and away you go. But yeah, just keep in mind you've got to run the bit. If you're going to up it, you're going to have to run the better gas. So, Paul Funk, $4 a gallon for regular gas here in Colorado. $4 a gallon. Yeah, what did I pay at the weekend? For 93, I paid, I think it was $4.45 a gallon for 93, and at the same gas station, I think it was $3.50 for regular. Beagle Bob, stainless works is really the only choice for exhaust, and expensive, but long tubes would probably be worth doing. Yeah, yep. Long tube headers will always, it's always an improvement, for sure. Although the exhaust manifolds weren't bad on those engines from memory. Tavo, I'm trying to elaborate on the oil question, but have to guess which word YouTube doesn't like and stopping the post. Oh, geez. Really? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, freedom of speech and all that. Freedom of speech as long as you're saying what they like. Bigger Bob, I hate the headrests in new cars. They push my head forward and my neck is not a fan. No, well, no, I'm not surprised. My 2019 F-150 was driving when I stopped by. Oh, yep, I remember it. It's my least comfortable car. Less legroom, too. Less legroom, wow. Huh. Tavo, can't touch the oil for climate. Virtue signalling, being green energy sufficient and all that. Yeah, the green. I figured that was going to be your answer. It's basically bottom line, the greenies don't like it. So, yeah. But they'll drive to their protest. Barracuda. In the 90s, I went to Gore to buy a V8 VJ Regal. Nice. It was a work day, and I couldn't believe how many American classics were on the main street. It was almost like an American graffiti. Really? In Gore? Good Lord. That's crazy. Steve Sadusky, I'm paying over $5 a gallon for diesel fuel now, which is hurting my trucking business. I'll bet. I hope the price comes back down soon. Yeah, it's diesel near me now is like $5.30 a gallon. So yeah. Vileflies in the house clings to a roasted garlic toast. So what's for dinner, Vilefly? Roasted garlic toast, or hopefully having something a bit more substantial than that. Chris Freeman, Tavo, for what it's worth, I was able to see all your posts. Oh, excuse me. About the oil question. Okay. It is good to know that 10.5 is a good goal for compression. Yeah. Just save yourself. Yeah, don't try and go higher because you're just making work for yourself. Snow Crusher, $6.23 Canadian or $5 US a gallon here. Yeah, well, depending what part of the country you're in, $5 a gallon US is really not that bad. That's only a little more than what I'm paying here in Franklin, and it's less than what they're paying in California. Chava, okay, for China to burn our coal. Yes. Yeah, China. Greenies don't get a lot of mileage in China. They don't. Yeah, they don't. Nobody really pays too much attention to them in China. They're not certainly not a force to be reckoned with in even at all. Tavo, thank the other window open wasn't showing them until I edited. Oh wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Stupid bread dough hath betrayed me. Oh no. Granddad's junk. Tavo, just build a gasifier to run the car. A gasifier. You're making your own gasoline now, Granddad. Hey, did I get a chance to tell you last week that the Remu's here? I can't remember. I'm not sure whether you didn't make it last week or my memory fails me. But sorry if I'm repeating myself. But yeah, just wanted to make sure you knew that the Remu arrived safe and sound. Apparently, the wife got a few strange looks carrying it through, from the officialdom. But yeah, it didn't seem to upset anybody particularly. And yeah, they just sent her on her way, and so it's here. She's very, very appreciative. She did want me to make sure you knew that. She's very appreciative. That's a bigger deal for her than you probably realise, mate. Beagle Bob, Volfly, toast as a side or appetizer. What's the main meal? Yeah. Barracuda. During the Carless days, I was okay. A tank full of petrol on my Yamaha TT500 lasted for ages. There you go. Oh, that's right. They wouldn't let you fill your car up, would they, either, if you had the wrong sticker on the window? Huh. If I remember, am I making that up? Was that a thing or not? Or was it the police would catch you with the wrong sticker on your car? I know I was like young and a rebel, and even though I had two cars, I still had my stickers stuck to like some Glad wrap, some cling film, and so I could actually swap them from car to car should the need arise. Because I was just a 17, 18-year-old little shit who didn't like to be do as he was told. Yeah, I remember doing that. Thought I was pretty clever, but I'm sure the police wouldn't have if they actually stopped me. I think they would have seen through that little ruse. But hey. Tribal Misfits. Mix has a live stream Saturday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight. 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sundays at 11:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, I didn't realise that. Yeah, last live he was talking about doing one on a Friday or something, I think. Volfly, frozen burritos and garlic bread. I'm doing very little in the kitchen tonight. Oh well. You can't be a Michelin chef every night, can you, mate? Joseph Stott in 1960 could get high test for 18 cents a gallon. Okay, I can probably figure it out, but what was high test? I'm guessing that's a premium grade of gasoline. But like what octane was that? Poor funk. I'm thinking of getting a horse for transportation. Yeah, the trouble with horses, they don't have brakes. And the throttle response can be very poor, I've found, whenever I've had the misfortune of being on the back of one. But maybe that could be the driver, Granny's junk. Sorry, guys, I have to go. Great chat. Oh, thanks for dropping in, man. Thanks for dropping in. No. Now, Tavo, I'm okay here. Can't use much as I can't go far. Have a full tank in the Neon and a full tank in the kid's mother's Honda, plus 40 litres in cans. Wow. That's the thing. Fuel banking, yes. Yes, indeed. Michael Pagliarini. I still struggle with that, even though I got it right. Evening all, late to the party, was watching Spaceballs with my wife. We both had a day. Oh, well, that'll get you out of your reality kind of funk, won't it? Spaceballs. Good Lord, it's been forever since I've seen that. Jeff Hutchins got the customers pushed out again. Let the party begin. There you go. Granddad's drunk. Tabo, are you bouncing back okay? Cover response bouncing like a deflated football. Oh dear. That doesn't sound very promising, does it? Tavo, memes doing the rounds here. Teams of camels hooked up in front of 3-up road trains. Oh, shit. Really? Yeah, well. That's a scary thought. Todd and I, gas here in Eli, Minnesota went up to $3.29 a gallon. That's still pretty reasonable, man. Well, compared to everyone else. Jeff Hutchins paid $4.44 for regular in Oregon on Sunday. Yeah, well, $4.44 for regular is a little pricey. That's $1 more than it is here. Todd deny Eli is pronounced Eli. Okay, Eli. I stand corrected, sir. I will try and remember that. Paul Funk, I could eat an entire loaf of garlic toasted. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Garlic bread is lovely. Bigger Bob, I think the dash starts further back on newer cars. A more shaped windshield for aero. Yep, that's true. My 99 F350 had my knees feeling much better on the same drive compared to my F150. Wow, and typically a 350 will ride a lot harder than a 150 too, so that's saying something, man. Tavo, gas nudging 260 Aussie pesos a litre here. Diesel closer to 3. Ooh, 260 a litre. Ouch. Yeah. So that 40 litre can of fuel is like $100. Wow. A bit more, actually. LVG, before this crazy petrol price, I grabbed 10 gallons in my jerry cans. California is ridiculous. California is high. Michael Pagliarini, thank you, by the way, for showing the inner wheelhouse on Swiss cheese. That helped me out. Oh, good. Awesome. Todd Denier, Chris, a gasifier is a wood burner and it converts wood smoke into a gas you can run your car on. Seriously? Converts wood smoke into a gas you can run on your car. How about that? I had not heard, no, I wasn't aware of that. It burns the wood as you drive? So you have a wood fire going in your car? Am I reading that right? That's pretty wild. Charles Jolton, calling it a night. Take care all. See you next week, Jake. Well, hey, thanks for dropping in, man. Volfly crawls out from under hardened breadcrumbs and sulks. Stupid breed. There you go. Josh Oman, I'm sure they would have recorded which cars had which stickers. Yeah, I think you're probably right, but yes, like most teenagers, didn't really think it through, just thought I was really clever and no one else would have ever thought of doing something like that. But yeah, probably not really the case. Barracuda, that's true. I remember you couldn't get petrol after midday Saturday until Monday morning. I remember that. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, it was busy at about 11:45 on a Saturday. The gas stations were busy. I don't think it really saved anything, though, did it? Because everyone just made sure they had a full tank by Saturday lunchtime. The Saturday mornings were just like it just became one of your errands to do on a Saturday was fill the car up. Whether it had half a tank, 2/3, 3/4, you just filled it up. And generally, unless you're really traveling a distance, a day and a half on a tank of gas was, achievable by the vast majority of New Zealanders. But I guess they tried. And then if people did have to go away, they just made sure, they either left, Friday night to go away, fill up, get to where they're going, fill up on Saturday before lunchtime, and that gave enough gas to drive home, unless you were driving from one end of the island to the other. But you didn't generally do that in a 2-day schedule, Shut up the page again. Brad Easton, carless days are being talked about again here. Really? You think that'll actually gain any traction? Now, where did I get stupid bread? Helen Trimble, 17 or 18-year-old shithead who didn't like to do what he's told. Doesn't that describe all of us as young people? I suspect it does, mate. Yeah, I suspect it does. But I mean, that's just a result of way too much testosterone. Coursing through your veins, and that's why young men do stupid shit. Volfly, a waste of my roasted garlic. Fortunately, I have enough left for another attempt. Oh, the trials and tribulations of Volfly's dinner. Yes, it's very concerning. Beagle Bob, I think I'm going to keep my stock wheels and do 245/50 16 tyres on my Mustang. Okay. 245/50. We're going to have a little bit of sidewall with a 50 series. 50 series is a good middle of the road tyre. It's got enough give on the sidewall. You give up a tiny bit on cornering. But it's just night and days better than like a 70 series. So yeah, that's a good size tyre. David Tyree, the police wouldn't have worried about your carless day. That was MOT days. That's very true, sir. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, the black and white cars that were traffic, and then it was the grey was police, wasn't it? All police cars were just all grey, like a light grey. And the traffic was, I think, black with white doors and a white roof, if I remember rightly. Huh. Bringing back memories, lads. Paul Funk, you don't have to fill up a horse or plug it into a charger. Well, you could plug it into a charger, but it's probably not going to do your mileage much good at all, actually. Would probably possibly save up on food, but yeah. Yeah, well, and they can't charge your road user charges on a horse, can they? Craig Nearing, back in the late 60s, I remember high test being like 99 or 100 was some like Sunoco was crazy high. Okay. Yeah, that's getting up there. 100, that's good fuel. LVG, back in the early 70s, they had restrictions depending on your license plate number. If it was wrong, no fuel for you. Oh, okay. Well, they like an odds and evens thing, was it? Now, Beagle Bob, Paul Funk, yeah, but you have to feed the horse whether you ride anywhere or not. It's true. It's true. But fairly cheap food. There's no, they're not into their ribeye steaks. So, Barracuda, what's the difference between cast iron and aluminum heads when wanting high compression? It's to do with the temperature in the head. The aluminum cools better. This is what my engine builder guy was telling me. So hopefully I've got this right. The aluminum, the heads don't have quite the heat. They're better at dissipating the heat from the combustion, and so they don't detonate as much. Whereas the cast iron heads do typically, they're slower at dumping their heat into the water jackets. So the surface temperature in the combustion chamber tends to be higher, which leads to detonation. So now I'm just parroting that, so I don't guarantee that that's actually what it is, but yeah, he's a pretty good engine builder. So, Craig Nearing, aluminum heads, cool better. There you go. Alan Trimble, Paul Funk, my late wife had horses. They cost a fortune to overfeed and house, and they require constant care. Yeah, there's nothing really cheap about a horse, is there? Barracuda, Dennis Wilson insisted on high test for the two-lane blacktop 55 Chevy. Yeah, well, that probably had stacks of compression in it. Todd Denio, aluminum heads handle high compression because they disperse the heat better. Yeah, well, it's three of us saying the same thing, so there must be something to it. You just think about it. Aluminum is better at cooling. That's why they don't have cast iron radiators. Whether you'd ever picked up on that, but that's not a thing. So there you go. Jeff Hutchins, my girls and wife have 3 horses. Cars are way cheaper. Yeah, so you don't have to follow them around with a bag and a shovel, do you? Cars, I mean. Carlos, I've got caught back up to that. Horse Outside is a hilarious parody of Porsche Outside by the Rubber Bandits. Okay, have not heard that one. Huh. Biggle Bob, I do have air springs on the F350. Okay. That can was only $75 when I filled it. Could call it a good investment. Mate, that's what's that? A third. You've made a 33% return on that investment. That's pretty good. Don't let it go stale though, mate. You're going to use it. Gas doesn't last as long in cans as it used to, or in your tank, Tava, Gasifier was World War II tech to run vehicles during the fuel shortage in England. Yeah, well, they do. Yeah, that was. I wonder how they run on that. So, am I right in thinking there was actually had a wood fire going in the car? That sounds bizarre. Here we go. Is it one? Todd Denay. Chris the Good. Wood gas fires were used in Australia and New Zealand during World War II. Because gasoline and diesel are in short supply. There are videos on YouTube showing how they work. Mate, what isn't a video on YouTube? Honestly, it's staggering the amount and types of videos that are on YouTube. It's really wild. Chris Freeman, Satava, I was about to say I think they used it in Germany right after the war ended. And they couldn't get any proper fuel for their cars. Yeah, you do what you got to do, don't you? And then if it doesn't run too good, at least it's running. Had the same in Oz, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and half a day Saturday. Had to go outside the metro area to buy fuel outside those times. It's crazy, isn't it? Lower man, LBG, night all next Tuesday is a date. Okay, you're on, man. Jeff Hutchins, Mopar man, but the old Ford went up too far again. Here we go. Mopar man, but the old Ford Super Duties from 99 to 04 were the best riding leaf sprung trucks ever, especially for heavy duty trucks and pickups. There you go. Ford Super Duty. Yeah, I don't think your autocorrect's turned on there, Jeff. I'm seeing some little grammatical errors there, but that's okay. We understand what you're saying. Craig Nearing had a friend that owned a gas station. He would be open on Sundays and sold all his allotment early and was closed the rest of the week. Good Lord, really? That's wild, isn't it? Barry Kid, I always remember if I didn't get back to the bank before they shut on Friday, I wouldn't have had any money for the weekend. Oh, shit. Yeah. I don't think about that anymore these days, do you? Yeah, the man's got a point. Yeah, if you didn't have money in your wallet by Friday afternoon, or end of trading Friday, you're at shit out of luck. Absolutely, SOL. It's amazing. Well, for me, it's amazing just the stuff that you just no longer even factors in my brain anymore. But now that when you mention it, it's like, wow. Tavo, I remember not having to go to the bank, being paid in cash. Well, that's true as well. Yeah, I used to get a little envelope. First job I ever had, working for New Zealand Motor Corp, NZMC. Yeah, they'd come around once a week with a little envelope with your cash and your notes and coins in there. It wasn't many notes and even less coins, but it was cash. And yeah. Oh, imagine trying to do a payroll these days. Some of these, like, do you imagine doing payroll for Amazon in cash? just think about that for a moment. Yeah, how would you like to have that job if it existed? Ooh. Beagle Bob, the car should be about 2,900 or 3,000 pounds on the Mustang. Sounds about right. Oh, that's fairly light. You must have dumped a bit of weight somewhere. That era Mustang was gaining weight. Volfly just caught the gasifier thing. Ah, yes, pretty much like running the engine on carbon monoxide, almost. High compression engines will extract more power from a wood gasifier with no detonation. Huh. That seems backwards. High compression engines will extract more power from the wood gasifier with no detonation. Interesting. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda ironheads also can get focused hotspots due to casting flaws, etc., and cause premature detonation. No, it makes perfect sense. David Tyree, last of the grey cars here were HQs by 79. They had white HZs. Okay. Huh. Trying to remember. A little bit fuzzy around that time of my life. I was smoking cigarettes. Yeah. Paul Funk, I'm joking about the horse, but I do walk wherever I can. I walked 7.2 miles today. Mate, good for you. I mean, yeah, I wish I had time to walk that. I probably don't really. I'm not a big fan of walking, if I'm honest. But, I mean, 7 miles a day, 2 miles a day will keep you a lot younger than being behind a desk. That's for sure. Now, walking is actually pretty darn good for you because it helps your core strength. It helps all sorts of things. I mean, it's not a cardio. Walking's not a cardio workout, but it still just gets shit moving. It's also a little side benefit. But actually, what I meant was muscles moving. Does get the blood circulating better than being sedentary. Helps keep your balance. There's huge benefits to walking, and it's not high impact like jogging or anything like that. And let's be honest, when we get a bit older, walking's one thing, but jogging and stuff is. I mean, I know there's guys running marathons in their 70s and stuff like that. I know that, but they've been running all their lives. But if you're not a fitness fanatic, but if you can get out there and walk, it's pretty darn good for you. So yeah, good for you, man. You should live a long and happy life. Volfly, ye gods, Flybaby is getting emotional over late homework. The end is nigh. Oh, good Lord. Beagle Bob, cars definitely get more horsepower per dollar than horses. Absolutely, they do. Barry Cuda. Yes, Tavo, me too. I think employees in Dunedin went off paying in cash after someone mugged the paymaster for Cadbury's. Oh, wow. In 79 and took off with $280,000. Wow, never caught. Ooh. Ooh. And all cash in small denominations, unmarked, of course. Yeah, and lots of small, yeah. Wow. And small denominations because the wages were small then, you know. Volfly, I need to put a movie on where everything explodes. Michael Bay might be of help tonight. Oh dear. God, I watched a movie actually tonight over dinner. Well, the last bit of it. It was called Nobody 2. And it looked quite good in the shorts. Yeah, it really wasn't, but everything was blowing up. And the good guys must have had 4,000 rounds fired off in their direction and actually 2 hit. So the bad guys couldn't shoot worth a shit. But hey, yeah, it was pretty mindless. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but lots of action, lots of shit blowing up and guns getting fired and people getting carved up. Craig Nearing, gasifiers were generally huge outboard devices. Oh, okay. So you had like a barbecue, a wood-burning barbecue grill like hanging off your rear bumper and creating carbon monoxide to run your car. Sounds completely believable. If it wasn't you guys telling me, I think someone was just winding me up. Yeah, Volfly, like getting an engine to smoke a cigar to run. Mate, that's a very good analogy. Paul Funk, on a lighter note, I spotted a river otter on the Colorado River yesterday, which I didn't know we had. There you go. That's a good thing to see, I imagine. Todd and I, Paul Funk, otters are cool to watch, especially when they are playful. Yeah, they're neat little animals. Volfly, here we go. Destructive distillation of wood yields methanol, ethanol, carbon monoxide, and other stuff depending on the wood. Okay, that makes a little more sense now. Methanol and ethanol. There you go. Todd, Chris is almost caught up in the chat. Might even have enough time to check his email from Marlon. But that's God thing you reminded me. I just forgot all about that. Yeah, I'm getting close. Look at that. I think. No, was I? No. Yeah, Barracuda. A bit of trivia. I saw a YouTube video today featuring a green 68 Shelby fastback that was leased by a film studio for Steve McQueen while he was filming Bullet. He used it for 3 years. That'd be a valuable car too. Tavo, just had to strain the brain there. Last cash paying job I had was the Wreckers in 1989. Next job was bank deposit and the same ever since. Yeah. The world changed, didn't it? Snow Crusher, walking is great till you wear out your knees and hips. Well, yeah. Yep. It's hard to do when you've done that. Beagle Bob, it's weird how caught up Mr. Kiwi is, especially because Kev is there helping disappear the bourbon. No, he's not, and I'm doing a pretty good job with my bourbon tonight, actually. Todd and I, come on, people, hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button. That's always good. Snow Crusher, my son was an extra on Nobody 2. Oh, really? Wow, that's wild. Was he one of the bad guys getting shot? Craig Nearing, button hit. There you go. Snow Crusher, I miss Todd and I miss walking more than 100 feet. Oh, wow, that's tough. David Torrey, my first take-home pay for a full-time job was $55.79. Wow. See, that was, well, that's a little after I started working. I think I started working when would have been, about 77. Beagle Bob and Jeff are loving on their diesel trucks. Franz Hoover 5719 bodywork question: what do you use to treat the inside of a panel after it is installed, such as a rocker panel, other enclosed places of the body, or a boxed frame? There's a few different products. Eastwood have some really good products for doing that with like big long plastic wands that you can get up inside. Cavity wax, there's various forms of cavity wax with a few different names, but it is a rust proofing that sprays inside. I will typically use a Worth product, which is just an aerosol can, has a short wand on it, and you can get to most like rockers and stuff have holes along the length of it where you can reach in and get a good coating in there. In around quarters, I like to go heavy on cavity wax around the bottom of quarters, at the behind the rear wheel, and where the quarter attaches to the rocker, or in front of the wheel. I always try and fill it in there. But Worth cavity wax is kind of my go-to. But I know Eastwood's probably a little more available, and their stuff's actually pretty good. But there's look up rust proofing on Eastwood. Go to Eastwood's site, and you'll have a few different options there. And but they have long wands with long, I call it a wand. It's a long plastic tube, hard plastic tube, and it has a little nozzle in the end of it, and it sprays out like a 180-degree pattern. So as you slide it up a chassis rail and back, it sprays. Doesn't just spray forward; it sprays out at kind of 90 degrees to the tube in a circular pattern, and well thought out. Does a good job. Yeah. Andy Nickel, basically the gasifier burned wood chips or anything carbon based. The resultant gases were hydrogen, methane, CO2. For me too. Yeah, he did. Volfly, I have to check that movie out. Saw the first one. Yeah, I hadn't seen the first one, but it popped up on Netflix. And I think the first one might be better than the second one. Just guessing. Where are we up to here? David Torrey, I was 17. Yeah, I was always 16 when I started work. But I was born in 61, so. Oh, Snow Crusher. He was a SWAT team guy, all covered up. Couldn't tell it was him. But hey, he was there. It would have been fun. I'm sure. It would have been fun, and who knows what it'll lead to. Tavo, my first job in of 79 paid nearly $90. Oh, you were a big deal. Oh, okay, better than my $36 for apprenticeship I knocked back, but I certainly wasn't thinking of the future in hindsight. Yeah, probably should have done the apprenticeship. Oh, well. Jeff Hutchins, Franz Hoover, good question. Yeah, it was. Paul Funk, I've become much more proactive about my health since I lost my brother to cancer 16 years ago today. Oh, man. Yeah, that would be tough. I lost my nephew, who would have turned 49 tomorrow, but he died of a heart failure a few years back. Yeah, that sort of stuff definitely gives you a little dose of reality, doesn't it? Volfly, FEMA has a gasifier construction manual online. Good Lord, really? David Tyree, cavity wax sounds like something an undertaker would use. Hey, that's a gruesome thought. All right, let me quickly check my emails and see if I've got a picture from Mr. Denio. I'm sure he said he sent us. I'm sure it's there. Here he is. Ooh, 3 pictures. Let's have a look here. Okay. That's picture of the engine bay and the grill. Try and get it so it's not quite so glary, maybe. Okay, that's not showing up fantastically. Let's go to the next one. Oh, there we go. That's a better pic. That's a cool car. Oh, yeah, look, suddenly the pinstripe. Has it got a pinstripe on it? Yeah, it does. The pinstripe suddenly showed up in the picture. Wow, the angle I hold my phone makes a huge difference. Do my best there, guys. That's a pretty solid looking car, man. I mean, obviously it needs work. It's not perfect, but it's man, it's a good foundation. Really good. The last thing you want is a Swiss cheese version of one of those. Definitely snow on the ground there, Todd. That's cool, man. That's a neat shaped car. One I've never personally laid eyes on in the flesh. So there you go. Hope that looked okay. Now, Todd and I, a video of a gasifier used on an older Cadillac. Looks like it has a still on the back end. Good Lord, that's crazy. Now, Chris Freeman says there's no shortage of companies selling rust-prohibited products for spraying into cavities and such. Yeah, it's not uncommon, but I think Eastwood do it pretty well. And I got no allegiances with them. I've used a number of their products over the years, and it does seem pretty good. I like their rust converter. I think that's a good product. I've had good success with that. Yeah. Volfly, the gases produced are filtered with sawdust. Good. Oh, okay. Well, that probably pulls out some of the methanol and stuff from the wood, it's, without it getting burnt. Huh. Barracuda. Sorry, I've just Googled that Cadbury's robbery in 79. He got away with 53 grand. Still a lot of money in 79. Don't know why I thought it was 280. Was that the time you robbed them, mate? Maybe that was it. Cadillac with a gasifier. Well, it has the trunk space. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, I thought Nobody 2 was good. Good mix of comedy thrown in, not at all realistic, but it wasn't pretending it was, so I'm okay with it. I hate action movies that are trying to be serious and aren't. Well, that's a fair comment. Hey, yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of people did enjoy it. I struggled with it a little bit. I even fast forwarded a little bit. It just wasn't for me, but that's just me. That's my weirdness. Doesn't mean it was a bad movie. But yeah, I agree with that. I hate action movies that are trying to be serious and aren't. Yeah, especially if they're not being realistic. Like I'm not a big fan of those Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies either. They just seem a bit far-fetched, really. There, the laws of physics apply to even spies as much as they do you and me. A couple of the boys, Barracuda, are saying probably 280 Ks in today's money. probably a pretty fair guess. It's a lot of money though. 79. There wasn't any $53,000 cars around. 53K was a lot of money. 53K today is like, you've got a couple of cars to choose from, but not a lot. Andy Nickel, my first job was washing dishes at the cancer clinic, and I made enough to buy a used handmade guitar. I was 17. Seems like it was foreshadowing. Seems that way, doesn't it? Wow, you made enough to buy a used handmade guitar. Very cool. Now, just to clarify, so a handmade guitar. So that's not a homemade guitar. That's actually like a quality guitar that's a handmade rather than mass produced, right? If I'm reading that right. Todd and I, Volflight was mounted out on the bumper. That's wild. David Torrey, hey, I grew up around policemen and undertakers. They always had funny, gruesome stories to tell. That's very true. Todd and I, Chris, it is rust-free. Mate, well, that's, I mean, it's hard to tell from the pictures, to be fair. But yeah, it's certainly, I wasn't going to say it's rust-free because I couldn't really see enough of it, but it certainly wasn't ate up. So yeah, like you say, it's rust-free. That's actually a pretty good achievement, and I'm sure they use a bit of salt on the roads where you are, right? They must do. So that's led a fairly charmed life then. But I stand by what I said. I mean, it's a great foundation because you don't have to spend $30,000 to make it the car. The frame and the bodywork what they were 60 years ago. You just need to finesse it back to life type of thing, just get the prettiness back on it. The bones are still good. So, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, but whether I'll stick to it or not, but buying rusty cars is not a great idea. So look around and spend that money on a rust-free or as close to rust-free as you can get. Save yourself a lot of time, a lot of heartache, and a lot of money. I'd hate to think what a customer would have spent fixing the rust in that Alpine, to pay me to do it. I got a reasonable idea what Swiss cheeses cost to get rid of the rust, and it's not an insignificant amount, shall we say. Paul Funk, when I delivered newspapers back in '79, there was a red and black Marlin on my route, and I thought it was such a cool car. Well, that's cool. Chris, Todd and I, Chris, there were only 2,500 built in '67. We're at you have told me that 200 left today. So hey, how do they know there's about 200 left? Is that like a Marlin register, or like how are you coming up with that? I'm not challenging, mate, don't get me wrong. I'm just curious as to like how you would know a number like that. Is that just based off registrations, or is that, as I say, some sort of a list of Marlins? Franz Hoover, thanks for the recommendation. I'm north of the border, trying to keep ahead of the rust on the TJ. That's a Jeep, right? That is also my everyday car. Had to weld in floor pans, but far from a pro. Wow. Don't knock what you've done. You welded them in, you got it done, you've got flaws in it. You welded them in, so that's a bonus. You didn't just tech screw it in or pot rivet it in. You actually you made an effort to weld them in, so good for you, man. Did you butt weld it all? I'm guessing possibly not, but that it's not. If your car was a Shelby Mustang that was worth a lot of money, and people will be crawling all over it, checking it out before they buy it. You need to, have invisible rust repairs. But it's a TJ. That's your everyday driver. So you did a proper job on it. So good for you. Jeff Hutchins, David Torrey. That's how they deal with the horrors they see. Same with combat soldiers. Yeah, it can make for some fairly dark senses of humour, but the human personality, psyche is we have to get a bit dark to cope with shit. Volfly, a variation of the gasifier, is a carbon monoxide generator where you run the car's exhaust through industrial coke, carbon, and feed it back into the engine. CO2 plus C, carbon, equals 2CO. Huh. Okay, so it picks up its energy from the coke or the carbon. Interesting. Volfly, not great for power. No, but when they were doing that stuff, it was about getting down the road at better than a walking pace. And at that stage, you were ahead of the game. If you could outrun the pedestrians, it was winning. It's just, I feel we take so much for granted today, like 600 horsepower. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's pretty good, back then, when those things were being used, it was like outrunning your neighbor on foot was in a car was a big deal. And I'm about out of bourbon, and we're about out of time. Admittedly, we haven't been 2 hours. We're at 1 hour 58, so we're not doing too bad. Todd Dye, Christopher Rust treatment. I like walnut dye, which has tannic acid. I first used it when treating traps when I did trapping. I've never heard of that. Walnut dye. Huh. I've never ever heard of that or anything like it even. Huh. There's probably a YouTube video about it. Josh Homan, the only Mission Impossible I ever watched was the one with Peter Graves. And that's the only one I ever intend to watch. Mate, I am with you. I know who you're talking about. Peter Graves, I remember the name. That was good television entertainment, wasn't it? Back in the day. But it was good. That was something to look forward to each week. Mission Impossible. Like, let's sit down and watch TV. That was good. Volfly's back. And we're all kind of signing out, I feel. Paracuda, I wanted a motorbike desperately, but no, that would have been going too far for me. Volfly, does tannic acid work better than electrolysis? That's a good question. Volfly, tannic acid is long-lasting as it turns the rust into a barrier. Huh. Interesting. Peter Graves was the brother of another famous actor. I can't remember who. Well, thanks for that little gem of information, Barracuda. He was a brother of another famous actor. We just don't know who. Barracuda, James Arness. Oh, wow. Okay, obviously stage names, I guess. I remember that, James Arness. Can't remember what he played, but I do remember the name. The bourbon clock. Hang on, what happened there? Something. The bourbon clock is as accurate as ever. Yes, indeed. Yes, that's a skill set I have to make it last. I'll be honest with you, bourbon doesn't typically last me 2 hours, but I do have to be somewhat coherent at the end of the 2 hours. On a Friday night, it does not get me 2 hours. I can share that much with you. Barracuda, Jeff, you don't like the original Vanishing Point. What the? Hang on, where did he say that? missed that. Vanishing Point. That was a fantastic movie. Bear Rose. This live goes from 7 till 9. Just saying. It's great to have you here, but we're about to sign off. So we needed you here like an hour and 3/4 ago, mate. Where have you been? Probably working on your Corvair, so that's fair. James Arness was Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke. Marshall Dillon. There you go. So Bear Rose, hello, goodbye. Thanks for dropping by. You'll have to try and make it a bit earlier next week. It's always good chatting with you. Barracuda, not really. I like the 97 version better of the 3 vintage movies I mentioned. Original Vanishing Point is the best. Right. Fair enough. Okay. I thought you were meaning the original. You didn't like the original one. Bear Rose Garage, been pulling long hours on the Corvair. I get it, man. I get it. Like, you've got to get some shit done, don't you? And being on lives every night does not get it done. So I get it, man. I get it. But yeah, it was just good to have your input here. So maybe next week, man. Maybe you can come and tell us everything you got done on the Corvair. Well, I suppose we should be watching your videos to find that out. But if anyone hasn't seen Bear Rose's videos, you should. Just look him up, Bear Rose Garage. He's got a very cool style, I have to say. Not wanting to sound like I'm sucking up, I'm not, but he does some entertaining videos. And he has a very unique style and usually something to be learnt from his videos. So go and check him out. Probably most of you are already anyway, but hey, just saying. What's going on here? Vilefly throws the petrified bread to the dog who looks offended. Poor bloody dog. David Torrey. Oh, Lord. Todd Deno, time is going too fast. I want to keep chatting with everyone. Yeah, mate, I have to go to bed. I got an early start tomorrow and we're thrashing on Casper because Casper's going home on Saturday. So I've got a list of shit I got to get done for Casper, and then it's going home to get I've got to get all the bodywork wrapped up, and then it's going home to get finished off. So yeah. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, at least somebody does. Oh, there you go. Bear Rose Garage, LOL. You're too kind, Kiwi. But thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Oh, it's true. It's true. I never forget how much you brassed me up. Well, you didn't, but we said tongue in cheek. When you did that little clip on getting the Ford distributors to drop into place, it's like, son of a gun. I've been fighting that job forever. And then you just click the switch and clunk, drops in. It's like, God. But it was good. And I've done it every time since then, and it works a treat. So I owe you for that one, if nothing else, mate. All right, fellas, I am going to call it a night and go and hit the sack. And I'll be on the job at 7 in the morning, thrashing on Casper, the Rusty Musty. All right, fellas, I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Have fun, get some work done on your cars, and I will see you then. Take it easy.